So Bitcoin has broken down to our target at 112,000. As mentioned at the end of last week, we were targeting the prior all-time high along with the 50-day moving average and the lower side of this bull flag that we've drawn in. So where do we go from here? Is the pullback over? And I'm going to talk about in this video what I expect for price over the next few days and weeks. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, please do smash the like, hit subscribe if not done so already. So we can see the Bitcoin here just really consolidating and going sideways ever since we made our all-time high, which is currently just above 123,000. You can see we've gone into this consolidation. Nothing to be too worried about at this point in time. I see that some people are calling for much lower targets. I don't really see the requirement to call for lower targets at the moment. We've got this 50-day moving average coming in as support. We've also got our 100-day moving average coming in a bit below that, currently around 108 to 109,000. So it is possible that if we continue consolidating over the start of August and coming a bit lower, we do line up with that. That would take us just below 110. Obviously, big round number. Potentially, buyers will be looking to buy more heavily below 110 for a potential trade up into the 120s, 130s, maybe higher over the next couple of months. So I do think we're getting to the point here where the low could be in, or we could be in for one final push lower. But certainly there is potential that this is bottomed and we do start to turn around quite quickly. And if we just look at the seasonal returns, something I have brought up in my previous video, then we can see that August tends to be quite a red month. So does September, and these are the two worst performing months actually throughout the year. Actually, the June is the second worst performing month, August being the third. So we've got the first worst performing month and the third worst performing month in September and then in August. So we are coming into a period where we should expect some volatility and some muted gains over the summer low volume periods. And we can just look at our liquidity heat map here. We've been going in this sideways range for some time, really over the majority of the weekend. Let's see if we can push back up towards 116. I think on the upside would be a decent level if we can get a green start to the New York session. If not, we are at risk of coming down lower, potentially sweeping the most recent lows and maybe hitting some lower targets at around sort of 109, 110. Those are my current thoughts on the Bitcoin price. But of course, all of what happens is going to depend on what the stock market does. So if we look at the stock market here, the S&P pretty much following the trend that I've outlined. I do think we can come a little bit lower on this move here. So potentially closer to 6,150 on the S&P. That's retesting these highs. That's coming in to connect with the S&P's 50-day moving average. And of course, we might go below that. We might go below 6,000 and possibly down to the 200-day moving average and reconnect with that again over the next month or two. So yeah, I am expecting that we're not out of the woods. And obviously for Bitcoin to really rally, to push back onto new all-time highs, we want to see the stock market doing the same thing. That's why I personally think over the next couple of months, just be a little bit cautious, expect some consolidation, expect some chop, expect some fuckery, as it's called, when it comes to the price action. And from there, I think we see a positive end to the year. It's just what happens before then. And like I say, I do think dips in the S&P, if the S&P comes below, let's call it 6,000 again, these are going to be sort of good prices to get into stocks, to add to stock market holdings. And the same is probably going to be true of Bitcoin and crypto, given the tight correlation. If you actually look at the chart of the S&P, you can see this big V reversal that we've had. And if you look at the chart of Bitcoin, you're going to see a similar V reversal, albeit it's a little bit, shall we say, not quite the exact mirror image. But yes, I think Bitcoin probably going to consolidate here. I would like to see us get back above this long-term trend line. I think when we can get back above there, we will likely have a go at new all-time highs. So if we can really close above 116,500 today or at some point this week, then potentially we can get a move on and look to make a new all-time high in August before more consolidation into the end of the summer. So that's really all I had to cover on Bitcoin and the stock market. Obviously, I still am long some of the altcoin trades that I talked about already over the last few videos. So Ethereum, I still think Ethereum can make a new all-time high this month before consolidating a bit more going into the end of the summer and then breaking higher. Sui as well has come a bit lower. So this is one we were watching. We actually outlined the zero point 0.5 retracement on Zui as being an area that I would like to buy. And these moving average cluster here, on the 50, we've got the 300, the 100. I think this green one's the 200, so that's a little bit below, but all these other ones here, and they've obviously done their job well and held up the price of Sui. So Sui's one I've added to, and I'm looking for it to probably outperform in the later stages of this bull run. Also, S, we talked about coming down. Has it reconnected with that trend line? I don't think it has. Ideally, I said I'd like to see this reconnect, get front run, and for us to start to put in a reversal very, very soon. So it looks like S or Sonic might be doing that. We've got Near that I've talked about as well. Let's come down here. So I'm guessing this is probably a 50% retracement from Near's move. If we just pull on a fib retracement, yeah, we've actually come down and tagged the 618. So Near showing a decent bounce off support, and we've also been talking about Ton. So Ton still above its 200-day moving average, and I would favour some more upside in Ton. Eventually, we might get a small correction here. Looks like we're on a Tom DeMark daily red one candle, which is effectively a nine sell, but where the nine has been invalidated and actually turned into a one. So that can sometimes happen, but it is also a sell indicator. And redo or resistance dog pick that I gave you, which I've been covering, has been one of my favorite memes, with it being the biggest meme on Ton or yeah, the Telegram linked blockchain, actually getting a nice bullish engulfing here and looking to break out. So that's encouraging. So it's good to see that some of our picks are respecting the supports that we've given, that are starting to outperform some of the rest of the market here. Whilst the rest of the market's selling off, we are seeing some nice gains on some of these coins. And like I say, just to summarize on Bitcoin, then Bitcoin currently holding support, which we talked about, which is where we wanted to see the bulls step in and hold our support. The question now is, can bulls get the momentum to break us out and reach new all-time highs this month, or are we in for some more chop and consolidation? And like I say, a lot of this is going to depend on what the stock market does. What does the S&P do? Do stocks rally back to all-time highs here first and then start to consolidate, in which case crypto should follow? Or do stocks come down lower to slightly lower levels before getting some sort of bounce? Or do they literally just consolidate and drift sideways, which will put pressure on crypto over the next few months? That remains to be seen. It's worth just noticing what the VIX does here today. So really, for us to see continuation in the stock market, we want to see the VIX come down below 19 and hold below 19. Right now it's at 19.03, so very, very close. If we can get a couple of daily closes below 19, that should be back to risk on for the stock market. And that would be that. I mean, if volatility does spike and break out here and get back above 20 and start closing above 20, then we will be expecting further downside in the stock market. So I'm keeping a very, very close eye on what the VIX is doing here. I think this is going to be a bit of a leading indicator to what stocks do and therefore what crypto does. So let's see where this ends up at the end of today and tomorrow. And if we're lower, then I would have expected the stock market to have put in a decent rally and be looking to attack all-time highs again, which is obviously going to be great for our crypto bags. So I'm going to wrap it up there. Thank you very much for watching and have a fantastic day. And I will speak to you all tomorrow. GM, GM, GM.